Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Real Hazardous. And today we're going to talk about some things you need to know before you go, fishing in Costa Rica. And this should probably help you if you're doing any sort of travel to Costa Rica. We're going to share some information and some specific to where we fished at and some about Costa Rica in general. So we won a fishing trip with Fishing Nosara. And we won this trip, so we got to go down to Nosara, Costa Rica, and do some fishing and just kind of enjoy the area. Something I always wanted to do. Had a lot of friends who have done this trip with this organization, and it was a great time. But let me share with you guys some things to expect. So to get to Nosara, you have to fly into one of the two main airports, which is the Liberia one, LIR airport, and then the San Jose one. And we flew into the LIR. And I think it's a little bit closer, but keep in mind, it's still about a 2.5 to 3 hour ride to Nosara. So it's a pretty good long road. In Costa Rica, they don't have the highways that you may be used to in America. It was a little 2-lane road all the way there. Sometimes it was 1 lane. Had some 1-lane bridges. For the most part, the roads were good, but there were some bouncy parts at times. Costa Rica is very hot, keep that in mind. So even though we went in May, which is kind of like our summer, it was their winter. So when we were used to it getting dark at say 8, it was actually getting dark at 6 in Costa Rica. But it got light very early. So it was like 5-ish, it was already getting daylight. Now even though it was their winter, it was quite hot. I think it's always pretty hot. I can't imagine what it was like in the summer. I mean, it wasn't too bad because we're from Florida, so we're used to it. But I mean, it is definitely very warm. So that being said, especially when you're going out on the boat, dress lightly. I had shorts, flip-flops. I have long sleeve performance shirts, which are good for sun protection, but sometimes a tank top was just nice because it was nice and cooler having that tank top, get a little bit of a breeze. Bring plenty of sunscreen. And you may want to bring your own bug repellent, mosquito bug spray. Because I hear it's kind of expensive down there. We went ahead and brought our own. And the bugs really weren't that bad. Now, it was the dry season when we went. Raining season hadn't started. So maybe that's why the bugs weren't so bad. But it definitely wasn't as green, talking to some of the people, some of the locals there. In Costa Rica, they don't flush the toilet paper. Basically, we kind of looked it up, something with the septic system and how they do things. You don't flush your toilet paper, you throw it in the trash. So keep that in mind. Just something to be aware of. That's how the bathrooms work down there. Now, most of the restaurants are outdoors, kind of an open area. There's not AC, anything like that. It's all very open. So when you're looking for restaurants, it's nice to find a good open ones with fans. In general, they were shaded and had fans, and I felt pretty good. There was one place we went to, and we were kind of a bigger group, so we weren't quite under the fan, so it was a little warm in that restaurant. But otherwise, it felt fine. It didn't bother me. Our room with Fishing Nosara, they had their own rooms, and I say rooms, it's more like little houses. They have different size ones depending on your group size, and those do have AC. Very nice, very cool. Felt good. I really liked them. I've got some video I'll show you now of kind of what our room looked like. Hi guys, I'll show you around Casa Neptune from our Fishing Nosara place. Backing up to go home. This is the kitchen, microwave, refrigerator, freezer, stuff like that. There's actually no toe kick here, so I feel like every time I step up here I accidentally kick that. Makes a little loud sound. So you got a bed over here slash kind of a sofa, I guess you could sit on, sleep on it. AC, it does get very cool in here. You can control it, so you always have a nice cool place to come back to. Got a table, it's pretty nice. So you can see you got a couple options here. Like if you want them to cook, you can have them cook. And while you're out doing your excursion or fishing, you can come back and then they'll have dinner ready and you can bring them your fish too. And these are some of the tours. And they don't have it listed here, but we went to the front office and did the 4-wheeler ATV excursion. That was like awesome. That was amazing. Not very good on horses. So the ATV tour was, you know, great. Here's a little map. With all the vegetation, it seems close when you walk up, but you're really like, I feel like you're really sheltered, like you can't really see other people's houses and stuff. Renewable, locally sourced house. It's pretty cool. Got the bathroom. It's a little tight in here, but does the job. Of course, everyone's out on the porch. I really like the porch with the swing and the hammock. It's really fun to chill there at night because there is no TV in here. That was the Discoverer boat. That was probably the favorite boat that I went on. No TV, but that's good. It gives you a chance to spend time with your family and stuff like that. So you got a room up here. It's got a couple beds. Then you got a shower. A shower here, bathroom here. And then you got your other bedroom over here. Bunk beds. I forgot what it said to sleeps. I think it's might be like 8. So you know, a bunch of guys, if you guys are all coming and want to fish, it's pretty cheap, I feel like, to rent the room for the week, and you can fit a lot of people in, and plenty of space. Got a nice porch out front. You get the breakfasts, and you got the pool, which is nice to come and cool down. So overall, I mean, I think it's a great little place to stay. And of course, downstairs you've got a bathroom down here as well. A little tight, but gets the job done. That is Casa Neptune. At their place, they have a pool that kind of like a community pool everyone can go to. Felt good, especially after fishing, to go chill in the pool and go there at night. You can see some cool wildlife. We saw a coyote, which kind of looks like a lemur. I guess a Costa Rica raccoon, maybe. But we've seen monkeys and stuff there too, so some pretty cool wildlife. Now they have a breakfast that you can get in the morning. Our package included that breakfast. So every morning we went there and they made breakfast for us, and it was really good. I liked it. They have some basic stuff like cereal, but they also have a lot of local food. You know, local people are cooking it. Good pancakes. They usually had fresh fruit, local fruit, watermelon, pineapple, bananas, all stuff I really enjoyed. They had pancakes one morning. They always had eggs and rice and beans and kind of stuff, Costa Rican food. To get around, they have golf carts you can rent out, and we rented a golf cart, and it worked pretty good. Now, there is a main road that you'll take sometimes to get to some other restaurants and some grocery stores, and that was a little nerve-wracking at first, being on a golf cart going down there, because the golf carts aren't as slow as the other things, and just people drive faster. A lot of people are on motorcycles, and they're used to passing you, so it seems a little crazier driving, but in general, like, it's just how they are. They're still pretty safe. Felt different at first, but by the end of the trip we were kind of comfortable with it. If you have more than 4 people, I would recommend getting an extra golf cart. We had 5, and we did cram 5 people in throughout the trip, but it was definitely a little much and kind of hard for the golf cart to go sometimes. While you're down there, make sure you have a credit card that is good for international travel. So like, ideally you have one that doesn't have international fees. I didn't need local currency. A lot of places take, you know, the American dollar, and if not, you know, credit cards are pretty common. Some of the common ones that they seem to take were Capital One and Visa. The Visa we had does charge a fee. I don't know if they all do that. You might want to check. But Capital One was taken pretty widely and it didn't charge a fee. I'm going to include a link to the restaurants we went to and the ones we liked. And in general, I thought the food was very good. A lot of great options. Now, one thing to be warned about is the food is pretty expensive down there. It's a lot more expensive than you think, because I felt like our room was fairly cheap. The charter was pretty cheap. Like, in general, flying there, you know, the Costa Rica in general, doesn't seem that expensive, but the food was always kind of high. You know, we didn't drink, and still 5 people, you know, it wasn't uncommon for like a basic, you know, dinner to be 120, 150, something like that, dollars. A couple things to keep in mind. Some restaurants include the gratuity, some don't, so you might want to check. Gratuity, I believe, is a little different, like 10% versus, you know, in America, maybe 15, 18, 20%, something like that. So keep that in mind. If the charge looks really high, check to see if they already included the gratuity on it. So they may have a service fee, you have your food, you have your gratuity. For whatever reason, food just seemed kind of expensive down there. So keep that in mind. Some of our favorite restaurants were the Pacific Azul, the Gilded Iguana, and La Luna. All pretty nice places, but I'll include all the places we ate at just for reference. You can take your fish that you catch, and a lot of places will cook it up. We went to the Pacific Azul, and they cooked up our tuna, and I thought it was a pretty good deal. I mean, we got like an appetizer and 2 really nice entrees, and all that was, I think, like 20 a person. So especially for down there, it was a pretty good, seemed like a pretty fair deal. And it was a really good fish, I have to say. I mean, some of the best fish I've ever had, so we really enjoyed it. Nosara is pretty famous for surfing, so there's a lot of good surfing. There's a nice beach down there. You know, you can swim in the water, fun activities to do with your family. Seemed like a pretty good family-friendly place. It's basically straight down this road to take you to the beach. There's a sidewalk. You can walk down, you can walk from our place to the beach. It's not that hard of a walk, but it is nice. Sometimes when it's really hot, to be able to ride on the golf cart. Some parking here, kind of like a security guy, I guess, to direct traffic. Very pretty, cool little area, cool little beach. Everyone seems to come to the beach at sunset, which is really nice. You'll see a lot of people and a bunch of dogs. Very dog-friendly place. Usted puede sobrevivir a una corriente de retorno. So rip currents. And definitely unlike beaches in Florida, you don't see mountains by the beach. Remember to stay on the main path. If you get off the path, you might run into gorillas. Yeah, right. Gorillas. Gorillas. No, I'm just kidding. It's pretty safe here. Apparently it was also big for yoga, but didn't really see a whole lot of that. Overall, it's a very laid-back place. It's not like a resort-style, you know, place. It's kind of chill. Flip-flops, tank tops, bathing suit. Our rooms didn't have TVs. Just keep that in mind. I didn't mind it. I enjoyed sitting out on the balcony. We had hammocks and chairs that swung and the pool. So it was kind of a nice break, but just keep that in mind. There are no TVs. Don't want you to expect there to be something not there. So we went down there for the fishing. We ended up fishing for 3 days. Fishing wasn't so great for us, unfortunately. No one's fault. Just sometimes fishing is bad. We still caught yellowfin tuna and stuff, and we had marlin strikes and wahoo strikes, but didn't catch any of those. I know a lot of people have done this trip a lot of times and have had very successful and caught a lot of billfish, really known for that. And there are several options you can do for fishing. They have different sized boats. We did the 32-footer. They had a couple of those, and they have some pangas like a 31, a 27, and a 22, depending on how big your party is. You can also fish for 8 hours, 6 hours, and 4 or something like that. There's a couple different options. Now, if you do the 6 or 8 hours, they include lunch. We did the 8-hour ones the whole time, but looking back, like, I don't really think you need to do that, at least not all the time. You know, 6 hours, even 4 hours is plenty. 6 hours probably be a great, you know, kind of compromise, because you got plenty of time to fish. You get the lunch. If they're there, you're going to catch them. If not, you won't. You don't need the 32-foot. It was a nice boat. If you got a big group, by all means, but otherwise you could probably do like the 27 or 31 panga, something like that, and it'll be plenty. The weather is generally pretty good. I don't think you need the bigger boat per se, but it was nice. To get to your boats, there's not like a marina, like a dock that you just walk on and go. They're actually moored out in the bay. So when you get there, you're at a beach and there's like a couple guys in pangas and they're gonna ferry you to the boats. So they come up and you just hop in the panga and they kind of get it set, and you'll kind of sit there and wait for a minute as they time out the waves, right? And I guess these guys are good at it. They kind of see when the pattern's right and they jump in, crank that motor up, and you go through. Now I would recommend putting all your gear in a dry bag still, because sometimes we did hit a wave and got wet. So just go ahead and put all your stuff in a nice dry bag in case you do get wet. You know, there's an old saying, if you don't want it wet, don't take it on a boat. So just make sure you have everything protected. But they'll take you to the boat, you'll get on and you pretty much go. And it's not terribly far to start fishing. Mountains in the background, definitely something you don't see in Florida. And you start looking for dolphin and fish, sailfish, start trolling. They got it down pat, and they'll get you on some fish if they're there. When they catch a fish, you'll get your pictures with the fish, and like our tuna that we kept, they filleted it right there on the boat. There's no marina to come back to or fillet table, so they actually fillet it and bag it right there on the boat. And then when you get off on the boat, they hand you your bag. You know, in the US and Florida, like, you can't fillet fish while you're out on the water, you have to bring it back, but that's not a rule there. So they'll fillet it and have it all set. So as soon as you get back and they anchor up, Panga comes and gets you and takes you back. So it's about a 15-minute, they'll shuttle you back there, and then you can just chill, get in the pool, get something to eat, kind of cool down. What's cool is you can actually bring your fish home. You know, if you're there for several days and want to bring a bunch of fish back, you can. What you'll need is a cooler, and you'll need to freeze that meat. If it's a frozen solid, you can take it back as a check bag. They do sell soft coolers down there, but they're kind of expensive. So we went ahead and just bought a soft cooler on Amazon. I kept it folded up, put it in my carry-on going down, so we didn't have a check bag fee. And then we filled it with fish that we froze throughout our about a week there. And then we just took it back. It was no issue. So that's a good way for you to bring fish back. And if it's frozen, I believe you can bring it back as a carry-on if you don't already have a carry-on. Aside from that, I'd probably recommend, if you can, put fishing, some breaks in between fishing. They had a really cool ATV tour. It was Macho ATV tour. I'll put a link to it, but super cool tour. One of the best things we did on the trip. They take you riding up the mountain. You got to eat like fresh fruit. You go to this farm where they grow coffee, talk to the farmer, get to see a lot of neat things, and just really fun riding the four-wheelers around there. They have some other tours, horseback tours, kayak tours. There's some fishing, I think, from the beach. Basically, you can go to the front office and they'll tell you about stuff. They can book stuff for you. They'll get you all set up. So it's really helpful. Overall, if you guys got any other questions, just leave a comment below and we'll try to help you out as best we can. And put lots of links and lots of information in the description to where we went. You know, if you want to contact Fishing Nosara, all sorts of stuff. There's gonna be tons of stuff in the description. Be sure to check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to us and follow us on our other social media, Real Hazardous. And we'll see you guys next time.